Thank you very much. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Wojciech Drewczyn. I'm CEO of Space 3C Acceleration Program. Today, I will tell you something more about the effective collaboration between corporation and startups, and what was the role in this process from horse-drawn vehicles from 19th century. So, a couple years ago, top 50 companies from the list of the largest companies in the world was asked about innovations, and the question that they received was about where the innovations will come from in the next 10 years. Those innovations, of course, connected to their industry. So there were three answers that they can select: from your own company, from your own industry, and outside their own industry. And here are the results. No one believed that their company is able to provide disruptive innovation in next 10 years. Moreover, those companies mentioned that the most spending for the innovations, they are spent internally. So they are not looking for outside their companies, the businesses, opportunities to get access to some innovations. As Darwin mentioned a couple of minutes before, most companies from the list of the biggest ones in the world will be replaced in next 10 years. So how corporations can solve this problem? How they can get access to the innovations that can change this situation? Of course, they can start collaboration with startups. Young, fresh, small companies that are providing disruptive innovations, that are creating new markets, that are testing new business models, are those companies that can help corporations to survive and to build the competitive advantage. Of course, most of the startups will fail. 90% of them could fail. But those who will survive on the market could replace those big players or create new markets and become the leaders on this market. So why corporates and startups are look each other? Because they got the things that the other party is looking for, and they are operating on the way that the other side of this cooperation would like to work. So corporates are big guys with the large resources, with the access to the large markets, and with a lot of money. On the other hand, startups are flexible, are agile, are testing new business models, testing new technologies, are very good in making pivots, and of course, they got very strong need to be successful on the market. So that's the reason why corporate venture capitalists are looking for the startups. And the investments made by CVCs is booming. Last year, those CVCs invested over $50 billion to the startups. And this is 5 times more than just in 2013. But corporate venturing, this is not a very new thing. To understood its genesis, we should get back to the 19th century, to the United States, where at the end of this century, William Durant created a company that was responsible for manufacturing horse-drawn vehicles for just $2,000. In quick time, this company became a market leader and was the foundation to the other company from the market that was just creating to the automobiles. At the beginning of 20th century, Durant created General Motors company, car manufacturing company, and this company was very successful in a quick time. It acquired some other car manufacturing producers like Pontiac or Cadillac, and that company was in the area of interest from some big player that was totally outside of this market. DuPont Corporation, the leading producer of plastics and chemicals, the CEO of this DuPont Corporation, Pierre DuPont, invested his own private money to General Motors in 1914. And just after that, this company was really rapidly growing, over 50% every year. So in a quick time, DuPont Corporation invested $25 million in General Motors, and 10 years after that, General Motors was responsible for over 50% of revenues of entire DuPont Corporation. So Pierre DuPont select a winner. And that was the purpose for the other corporations to start their operations with the startups, with rapidly growing companies, with companies based on new technologies. So there were 4 waves of corporate venturing. First started in the 60s, and at that time, most corporations with a lot of cash tried to get access to the new markets, tried to test some new products and services, and invested money in some startups. Every of that wave was replaced by the new one. Sometimes the reason of that replacement was the market crisis, sometimes the failure of some corporate venture capitalists, and sometimes the new technologies were replacing the old-fashioned ones. And that was the reason why the second wave of corporate venturing started in Silicon Valley. So the big guys would like to connect to the personal computers era. And that era was replaced by the internet, the golden geeks era. A lot of people that time tried to bring new businesses to the internet, and most of them, even without revenues, get funding from investors or on the stock market. Of course, the internet bubble crashed, and Silicon Valley needed to find the other way how to build the companies that could be new players on the market. So the old-fashioned companies was replaced by those who survived this dot-coms era. And in the same time, the other guys on the market tried to test some new approach, how to cooperate with the startups, how to pick the winners. And they're starting accelerating startups. So providing not a big amount of money, but support of mentors and their contacts on the market, that will help those startups to be successful in the long-term perspective. So the first such program was Y Combinator. And the other companies looked at this model, which was successful, tried to develop it and adapt it. Also, some corporations in some time saw the opportunity and started creating their own acceleration programs. The number of these acceleration programs raised year by year, so the competition on this market to get access to the best startups is not so easy. These are some numbers about the alum network of the best acceleration programs worldwide. As you can see, the pioneers of this market overtaken most of this market and are just taking the best startups every year to their acceleration programs. But also, corporations are quite good in connecting with the startups because they got strong brands and the offer of that corporations is quite good. On this chart, there is missing one secret acceleration program that connects startups and corporation. Maybe some of you have idea what is the name of the organizer of this secret acceleration program. Any ideas? It's called Polish Agency of Enterprise Development because they are running various acceleration programs dedicated to connect startups with corporations. And at the end of 2021, over 800 startups will start cooperation with over 100 big entities. And this is something really important for this market. So corporations could pick a lot of various instruments that can help them in working with small, innovative companies. CVCs and acceleration programs are not only one of these instruments. There are hackathons, there are meetings and conferences. Corporations could provide their internal or external incubation programs. They can provide some grants. And it's really hard to select the portfolio of such instrument that could help the company to get access to the startups on various stages of development. So to help the corporations, I created very simple method called Startup Collaboration Readiness that allows corporations to check their experience and the readiness to start working with some startups. So at the level 0, corporate guys know nothing about the startups. So they are trying to identify the startup ecosystem around them. They are starting to be present on these ecosystems. And after that, they are ready to start some partnership with external partners, like, for example, acceleration programs. That is the main reason why they can start their own active scouting of startups and build the foundation of their corporate strategy for the cooperation with the startups. And after that, they are ready to launch their own instruments like acceleration programs, and they can start investing money together with VC funds and finally create corporate venture capital arm in this company. So, since 2016, we are working with various numbers of corporations, thanks to Polish Agency of Enterprise Development and Pomerania Special Economic Zone, and the other partners that supported us in this process. We help over 20 large entities start their journey with the startups. Some of them start from the point 0, and the other had some experience, also their own instruments. And we inspired some of those large entities to create their own solutions and their own way how to start working with these small, innovative startups. So the reason why this cooperation could be successful needs to fully understand the needs of the second part of this business. So corporations should know that startups are looking mostly for the access to the market and some support from the technical side. The finance that corporate could deliver to the startups is very important, but not most important in this partnership. On the other hand, startups should know that corporates would like to test new products and services, test some new trends, also improve the innovation culture in their company, maybe acquire some talents, and the getting return on investment is also important, but it's not at the top of this list. Here are examples of some of our alums. As Chris mentioned at the beginning of our demo day, we supported, till this date, 39 companies that work for over 20 large corporations. And we are quite good in this because we are trying to find the best place for this startup to use their skills and the technology to solve the real problems of that corporations. So we are running a couple acceleration programs, and we will support more of the startups. Thanks to this reverse innovation model that we are still practicing and improving, we are better and better in this field. So we are always asking corporations and big industry partners, what problems you got? Where we can help you in solving some business issues or technological issues. And then we are finding the right guys in the startup market that are able to solve those problems. And after a couple of months of such cooperation, there are some results that allows big players to just make some decisions. If this startup was good enough to be a part of our business, if the technology was working, if we get any proper results that are valuable. So there are a couple success factors that really depends on this collaboration. Both sides should have clear and well-defined goals. And on the both sides, especially on the corporate sides, there should be strong leader, decision-making person that will be responsible for building team that will be open-minded, the person who will get the proper resources and appropriate budget that will allow make this collaboration happen. Of course, corporations and startups could use some partnerships that will help them in this process. So such partner could be our acceleration program as a bridge to safe and secure and effective cooperation. Most important thing is the trust. Both sides should trust each other. I know that it's hard because startups are afraid of the corporations, and of course corporations also afraid that startup maybe will fail during this collaboration, but trust is the foundation of the effective collaboration. Because at the end of the day, the collaboration between startup and corporation is not collaboration between small and a big one. It's cooperation between people that are building long-term relationship. And everybody who understands this could be successful on this market. So I would like to encourage you to start working with small guys, to start asking the big guys how you can help them and start this cooperation, because this is very crucial for building competitive advantage. Thank you very much.